Hey, what's going on, everybody? Hope you're all having an amazing day. This is Tyler Adolfo. Thank you so much for stopping by the channel. If you haven't subscribed, be sure to hit that subscribe button. For today, we'll be doing a reaction video to George Carlin euphemisms. Now, I love euphemisms. I don't know about you. Counter them all the time. Sometimes it can get a little bit annoying if it becomes excessive. The ones that people use absolutely all the time. You're such a something. This one's really something. People overseas being bombed get referred to as collateral damage. So long as you take out an important target, it's collateral damage. I can't think of anything more brutal of referring to someone who gets killed in such a way less unpleasant. I think that it takes away from the value of life, but that's just my opinion. But let's see what George Carlin has to say, because I'm sure he has quite a long list. He's known for his list of interesting euphemisms that he's encountered in his life. Let's check out what he has to say.
It's worse with every generation. For some reason, it just keeps getting worse. I'll give you an example of that. There's a condition in combat, most people know about it. It's when a fighting person's nervous system has been stressed to its absolute peak and maximum, can't take any more input. The nervous system has either snapped or is about to snap. In the First World War, that condition was called shell shock. Simple, honest, direct language, 2 syllables, shell shock. Almost sounds like the guns themselves. That was 70 years ago. Then a whole generation went by, and the Second World War came along, and the very same combat condition was called battle fatigue. 4 syllables now. Takes a little.
Look, shell shock quite didn't accurately capture the intensity of what was actually happening itself, and then for it to be changed, and that quickly too. In an incredibly small amount of time, it was changed from shell shock to battle fatigue.
A little longer to say. Doesn't seem to hurt as much. Fatigue is a nicer word than shock. Shell shock. Battle fatigue. Then we had the war in Korea in 1950. Madison Avenue was riding high by that time, and the very same combat condition was called operational exhaustion. Hey, we're up to 8 syllables now, and the humanity has been squeezed completely.
Your entire nervous system is on the brink of being destroyed, or is practically destroyed, and they refer to it as operational exhaustion. That's just despicable, man.
Out of the phrase, it's totally sterile now. Operational exhaustion. Sounds like something that might happen to your car. Then, of course, came the war in Vietnam, which has only been over for about 16 or 17 years. And thanks to the lies and deceit surrounding that war, I guess it's no surprise that the very same condition was called post-traumatic stress disorder.
And that's still the one being used today. I've heard that used a lot. I haven't heard the shell shock one that he mentioned, or the other one's operational exhaustion, or the battle fatigue, but post-traumatic stress disorder, I hear it all the time. And quite frankly, it does sound like it's gotten increasingly more soft. And this isn't something unique to the military either. Using euphemisms to downplay something, it's used all the time with death. So-and-so passed away. Charlie Daniels recently passed away, and I know he used to say every single day he would tweet out the statistic about military veterans and the amount who commit suicide every day, and I believe it's like 20. It may even be a little bit higher than that. Every single day, 20 veterans commit suicide. I don't think post-traumatic stress disorder is a term that's dark enough to accurately display the true horrors that these men and women go through when they come back.
Still 8 syllables, but we've added a hyphen. And the pain is completely buried under jargon. Post-traumatic stress disorder. I'll bet you if we'd have still been calling it shell shock, some of those Vietnam veterans might have gotten the attention they needed at the time. I'll bet you that.
This can be applied to Iraq and Afghanistan too.
But it didn't happen. And one of the reasons is because we were using that soft language, that language that takes the life out of life. And it is a function of time. It does keep getting worse. Give you another example. Sometime during my life, toilet paper became bathroom tissue. I wasn't notified of this. No one asked me if I agreed with it. It just happened. Toilet paper became bathroom tissue. Sneakers became...
I've never heard anyone use the phrase bathroom tissue And if they did, I think I'd probably have to cut them out of life because there's no room for toxic people. No, I don't know if maybe it's a regional thing, but in Massachusetts, I haven't heard anyone refer to it as that. Maybe it does on the packages. I'll have to check next time I buy some. Everyone I know refers to it as toilet paper.
Became running shoes. False teeth became dental appliances. Medicine became medication. Information became directory assistance. The dump became the landfill. Car crashes became automobile accidents. Partly cloudy became partly sunny. Motels became
This is that list I was talking about.
motor lodges. House trailers became mobile homes. Used cars became previously owned transportation. Room service became guest room dining. And constipation became occasional irregularity. When I was a little kid, if I got sick, they wanted me to go to the hospital and see the doctor. Now they want me to go to a health maintenance organization or a wellness center to consult a healthcare delivery professional. Poor people used to live in slums. Now the economically disadvantaged occupy substandard housing in the inner cities. And they're broke. They're broke. They don't have a negative cash flow position. They're fucking broke. Because a lot of them were fired. You know, fired. Management wanted to curtail redundancies in the...
I'm not clapping because there's people in poverty and people who are broke. I'm clapping because what he's saying is just straight up fact. People downplaying poverty, and of course they have euphemisms for that.
human resources area. So many people are no longer viable members of the workforce. Smug, greedy, well-fed white people have invented a language to conceal their sins. It's as simple as that. The CIA doesn't kill anybody anymore. They neutralize people. Or they depopulate the area. The government doesn't lie. It engages in disinformation. The Pentagon actually measures...
Now this is getting super Orwellian.
...nuclear radiation in something they call sunshine units. Israeli murderers are called commandos.
Come to think of it, this is exactly like Orwell. The Ministry of Truth, which was tasked with the objective of lying, and then you have the Ministry of Love, which was actually all about torture, and all these, the four ministries in 1984 do the exact opposite function of what their name would imply. And I guess that's the same deal with euphemisms almost. It's gotten so out of hand that...
Arab commandos are called terrorists. Contra killers are called freedom fighters. Well, if crime fighters fight crime and firefighters fight fire, what do freedom fighters fight? They never mention that part of it to us, do they? Never mention that part of it.
And that's one reason why they say English is so hard to learn. Can reposition things, but there is no consistency when you do so.
And some of this stuff is just silly. We all know that. Like on the airlines, they say they want a preboard. Well, what the hell is preboard? What does that mean? To get on before you get on? They say they're going to preboard those passengers in need of special assistance. Cripples. Simple, honest, direct language.
Oh,
there's no shame attached to the word cripple that I can find in any dictionary. No shame attached to it. In fact, it's a word used in Bible translations. Jesus healed the cripples. Doesn't take 7 words to describe that condition. But we don't have any cripples in this country anymore. We have the physically challenged. Is that a grotesque enough evasion for you? How about differently abled? I've heard them call that differently abled. You can't even call these people handicapped anymore. They'll say, we're not handicapped, we're handy-capable. These poor people have been bullshitted by the system into believing that if you change the name of the condition, somehow you'll change the condition. Well, hey, cousin, doesn't happen. Doesn't happen. We have no more deaf people in this country, hearing impaired. No one's blind anymore, partially sighted or visually impaired. We have no more stupid people. Everybody has a learning disorder. Or he's minimally exceptional. How would you like to be told that about your child? He's minimally exceptional. Oh, thank God for that. Psychologists actually have started calling...
I can totally see some parents having that reaction, taking it as a compliment, you know, not getting the meaning behind it.
Ugly people those with severe appearance deficits. It's getting so bad that any day now I expect to hear a rape victim referred to as an unwilling sperm recipient. And we have no more old people in this country. No more old people. We shipped them all away, and we brought in these senior citizens. Isn't that a typically American 20th century phrase? Bloodless, lifeless, no pulse.
Come to think of it, yeah, you know, I've been told since I was a little kid that you don't call old people old people. Old people's offensive. I don't know, what do you guys think of that? Do you find that word to be offensive? I don't know if you're old or not, but me, if I was old, I wouldn't particularly care.
A senior citizen. But I've accepted that when I've come to terms with it. I know it's here to stay. We'll never get rid of it. That's what they're going to be called, so I'll relax on that. But the one I do resist, the one I keep resisting, is when they look at an old guy and they'll say, "Look at him, Dan. He's 90 years young." Imagine the fear of aging that reveals. To not even be able to use the word old to describe someone, to have to use an antonym. And fear of aging is natural, it's universal, isn't it? We all have that. No one wants to get old, no one wants to die, but we do. So we bullshit ourselves. I started bullshitting myself when I got to my 40s. As soon as I was in my 40s, I'd look in the mirror and I'd say, well, I guess I'm getting older. Older sounds a little better than old, doesn't it? Sounds like it might even last a little longer. Bullshit, I'm getting old. And it's old.
I'm going to keep that tip in mind for when I'm getting up there, because, you know, I'm 22 now, and I'm already starting to feel that. I'm not going to call myself old anymore. I'll just get a little bit older, you know? Slightly older today than I was yesterday.
Okay, because thanks to our fear of death in this country, I won't have to die. I'll pass away.
I'll say this, the day he did die, it was a bad day for the world. I was too young to know much about it or know much about him, but it's really unfortunate that we don't have a truth teller like this, someone who says it like it is, speaks his mind. It's not a lot of stand-up comics who have the kind of boldness and willingness to speak the truth. There'll never be another George Carlin. I know a lot of people like to try to compare certain people to George Carlin. I'm not with that. There was only one. There will never be another one. Period. End of story.
Or I'll expire like a magazine subscription. If it happens in the hospital, they'll call it a terminal episode. The insurance company will refer to it as negative patient care outcome. And if it's the result
Of course, the corrupt insurance companies will refer to something wacky like that. You can never trust them.
of malpractice, they'll say it was a therapeutic misadventure.
What?
I'm telling you, some of this language makes me want to vomit. Well, maybe
Me
not
too.
vomit. Makes me want to engage in an involuntary personal protein spill.
What a beautiful way to conclude an amazing performance at the end there. Let me just get rid of this screen and we'll go along with closing thoughts. So we just watched George Carlin Euphemisms. That was my first time seeing that one. I enjoyed it. I say that after every George Carlin video, just gonna get that off right off the bat. I think he makes a really good point, and what this video could be summed up in one sentence is when he said, people are taking the life out of life with euphemism. You know, there may be circumstances where euphemisms are appropriate, where you refer to an old person as senior citizen out of courtesy and respect. But when you refer to soldiers who are experiencing extreme trauma and, in effect, downplaying the severity of their illnesses, words that are less severe, it does a blatant injustice to them, to those that we proclaim to care about. And the same goes for, you know, overseas when you have innocent civilians or, you know, casualties. Collateral damage, you know, call it what it is. The hospital was bombed and a bunch of children died. You can't brush that off as, oh, collateral damage, and that's all there is to see. George Carlin, Ferrari once again, as per usual. Let me know what other George Carlin videos you'd like me to react to. I appreciate you all tuning in. Be sure to hit that subscribe button if you enjoyed this video. This has been Tyler Adolfo. Hope you all have a wonderful day. Peace out, you marvelous legends. Till next time.